in Georgia, where we now have 91% of the votes counted, 51 to 48% in Georgia. So we're looking good in the Peach State. Arizona could be a game changer as well. We have 49.7 to 49.5. So it is razor thin margins at this point in the state of Arizona with 50% of the votes counted. But you take a look at these numbers. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay, go ahead.
For the great Matthew Alvarez, I'm going to shut my mouth, take a step back, and listen to what you have to say. What were you going to ask?
Oh, come on now. That's not how that works here. You know that. But anyway, that's fun. I like it. But the point is, Minnesota, can you update us on the numbers in Minnesota right now? Like, my point is, with the wild card states of Virginia and Minnesota, we've seen them back and forth, but I'm starting to back off calling them wild card states if Minnesota and Virginia are not going to go red. I hope they do, but what's the latest there?
Well, Minnesota turned blue not too long ago, and kind of by a rather large margin. I think the reason why is because this area, the suburbs surrounding Minneapolis, of course, that's the big concentration of people. That's where you have your population center. Here in the state of Minnesota, wildly went blue. But you know, you take a look to the north, we still have a lot of counties that need to report. Duluth is another area that will likely go red. And so this race isn't quite finished just yet either. That's not decided yet. And when it comes to Minnesota right now, we're at 53.5% versus 44.4%. But of course, you have to factor in Minneapolis, and we'll see what happens. Right now, 51% of the votes have been counted in the state of Minnesota.
Now we can make the call that AP is projecting Virginia is in the column for the vice president.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate, but as we know, the swamp is nearby. There's a lot of people who commute back and forth to D.C. It is outrageously expensive to live in Washington, D.C., even just to stay there, to travel there to our nation's capital. It's very expensive. So a lot of people live to the south in the suburbs, and so that is probably what pulled the blue there. So we're at 205 now versus 230, but the odds are with us. They're looking really good. And again, I'm very cautiously optimistic. However, we're going to continue on in this night until we have a decision. If we do get one tonight, it is looking more and more likely that we will get a decision in just a few hours.
Exactly. So we're laser sharp focused on now the following states. We're laser sharp focused on Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada. That is what, six swing states right there. We know North Carolina, as you said, went to President Trump. So all right, so we have 6 to go. Let's see what happens. We're 40 electoral votes away. The thing is like you said, we can get a little comfortable, but not too comfortable, because at the end of the day, you never know, right? So we really have to see this come through at 40 electoral votes still to go. And we see that he's been leading, though, in these swing states in red for a while, though, right? Like, we haven't seen PA or Michigan go back and forth too much as of the past hour, correct?
That's absolutely correct. And then Pennsylvania now with
You grew up playing Super Mario, Zelda, and Street Fighter. You're gonna love this. It's time to experience the classics one more with the ultimate retro gaming console of 2024. Meet the compact powerhouse that's set to redefine your gaming nostalgia. Simply connect it to any HDMI-compatible TV and unlock
Pennsylvania. And then it's only going to take a couple more. Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada still on the line. His chances are looking great. You factor in Georgia, which is also leaning towards President Donald J. Trump. And you see why I've got a little extra spring in my step. But you're right. It ain't over till it's over, Matthew Alvarez. I completely know.
It's going to be quite awesome. Let's just look into the future maybe 4 hours from now, right? Say President Trump wins the 2024 election. What is it going to be like throughout the country tonight in various cities, various towns, rural areas, suburban areas? What about tomorrow? Just hopefully a lot of joy in the country. And then those on the left, hopefully it just stays calm. But the point is, you know, we're looking at 40 more electoral votes. Christina Loret, thank you so much.
Meet the fearless mongoose, nature's snake hunter. They are small carnivorous mammals with long faces and bodies, short legs, and bushy tails. Mongooses live in groups known as...
Thank you so much. All right, awesome stuff. I mean, 230 for Donald Trump, 205 for Harris. So we see we're getting closer, but now it's just kind of watching the clock and see what happens. Kalshi.com as well has been really hot tonight because obviously the election. So let me look at the latest numbers there for Kalshi.com. Let's see. Kalshi is, wow, look at that.
94% chance of Donald Trump becoming next president of the United States.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Yes, 6% for Harris,
Go Trump.
94 for President Trump. That's on Kalshi right now, so that's pretty awesome. Director, can you let us know the next direction? All right, so we'll go to Victory Coffee. If you go to victorycoffeeroasters.com, that's the great website for this veteran-owned, and it was actually founded by an Army colonel and his wife who proudly support President Trump. So it's not just any coffee, it's the coffee that President Trump would love. Rich, robust, and ready to energize your MAGA morning. So
MAGA morning.
right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Always good to see so many patriotic companies that just work with a patriotic network like ours.
And the entrepreneurial spirit of these great groups that said, enough is enough, I'm going to go out there and serve the American people and serve them well. And it's been great to see how many of these new companies have come about, really in the last few years because of the cancel culture.
Exactly. And if we could see maybe West Palm Beach here on the monitor, that'd be great, as we can hopefully see how the Team Trump party is going there in West Palm Beach. Also, we were up in Pennsylvania as well. Nikki Stanzione there at a Team Trump event as well. So always good to see various events going on around the country right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're waiting to see which states are projected for President Trump. Okay, so that race is not called. We're just hearing about Georgia right now with the AP, but the Georgia Secretary of State says President Trump has an insurmountable lead right now, but the state has not called it for Georgia at this point, and we will wait until the Associated Press and others make that call. And of course, but right now, President Trump with this sizable lead in the Peach State, some good news for the 45th and soon to become, we see the 47th, possibly the 47th president of the United States. Looking on various pictures here live in West Palm Beach, the place is packed, just having a great time there as they watch the numbers come in, Bobby.
Oh, it's an exciting room, and it's great to see that in West Palm Beach because these people have worked so hard on this campaign. The blood, the sweat, the tears, literally, in the case of President Trump, taking a bullet for democracy, and perhaps the stalwart that changed the dynamics of this race. People that have come to politics like Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly, who once covered it or had an interest in it, but then saying, for my family, for the future of this nation, I have to get involved, and I have to endorse President Trump.
Exactly. So I believe you're looking at on the screen there, Director, if we can get that on the monitor here, the president leading in Pennsylvania, 51.4% over 47.6% over Harris. So we're looking at 2.9 million votes you see there for President Trump to 2.7. What a swing state to win if President Trump wins this one. That's a big one there, Bobby.
That is gigantic. If looking at this now, if it's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Peach State of Georgia, and of course Nevada, he is the next president.
Exactly.
So that would put him over 270.
Do we have, Director, do we have the popular vote numbers? Do we have the popular vote numbers anywhere? There they are, popular vote totals. Through the last updated returns, 60.1 million Americans over 56.1 for Harris. That's the popular vote totals. We know the numbers right now when it comes to the electoral map as well. Possibly we can take a look at that too, as we are here just reporting live for you guys as we see the numbers come in on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We know that President Trump at last look was at about 230 electoral votes, so still that 40 to go. And we'll be looking to see what races are called, and of course we'll call them right here. Just a shout out to everybody also here at Right Side in the studio that is working on all of these numbers and seeing everything come to fruition here. And all of the graphics, everything going on. We're just working.
This is like history in the making right now.
As we see at 11:52 p.m. Eastern Time, we're approaching November 6th, Bobby, and by November 6th, I believe we'll know who the next president will be.
As President Trump said, this is Liberation Day. Remember the 5th of November, and what a potentially historic moment. This doesn't happen often, where someone loses the presidency and then makes that comeback. This would only be the second time, in fact, in American history.
As you see at the bottom of your screen, I agree with you 100% on that. You see awaiting results from key swing states. So that's exactly what we're doing here at Right Side. That's what you're doing there at home or wherever you're watching us. Thanks so much for tuning in or live streaming in. I keep saying tuning in. You're not tuning in, you're live streaming in. Let's talk about RepublicanRed.com, RepublicanRed.com, the winery. So many varieties of wine at RepublicanRed.com. You see a few of them right there. And isn't there a Pinot Noir that's...
It's the Never Surrender. It's a collectible item. Really fantastic. And perhaps some of you might have it tonight to enjoy a potential victory. We're not getting ahead of ourselves, but it's looking rather positive. And then, of course, you have the Second Amendment Cabernet, a great way to celebrate our freedoms there. And then the Drain the Swamp Chardonnay, of course, a crisp white to enjoy, making fun of the bureaucratic state, and it really is we the people versus the uniparty.
Exactly.
I'm trying to put the background YouTube. Check. Alright, so I'm trying to I think I did it. There we go. Okay.
Harrison Fields and Megan Kohler in Florida, which will be going back there. That is quite the party tonight in Florida, especially if President Trump wins this one. We're looking at Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. President Trump's still leading. He's leading in Georgia. He's leading in Arizona. No numbers yet for Nevada, so those numbers are not even in at all right now as we approach the midnight hour here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Bobby, your thoughts at this point?
Well, it's also interesting that one more victory in a Senate seat and the Republicans then have the majority in at least one chamber, and now also a significant lead in the U.S. House, 171 to 129 right now. Of course, 435 seats all up for grabs every 2 years in the House, but things looking rather positive as we move into what will be Wednesday, November 6th, the day after the election.
All right, man.
It'll be quite
With
awesome
this,
to see.
This is like the
results
most
here
important
tonight
election that's ever happened in
or
the history of the
midnight,
United States.
right in
I
the
feel
morning.
like.
All right, so
There's
we're
never
going to
been an
go
election like
to way up north from
Like,
where
there's
we
one
are
guy's
here in
claiming that
Alabama. We're going to go
they
to
stole the
Pennsylvania,
presidency from
the
before,
huge swing
and now they're gonna
state
try to
of
do it again.
Pennsylvania right
So if
now.
he loses,
So let's go there to
gonna
Nikki
be a big
Stanzione, who joins us live from a Trump
investigation.
team watch party. Nikki, take it away.
but he's winning like by crazy. Trump's winning by a lot right now.
Hey guys, this is pretty unbelievable what has just happened over the last few minutes. There has been a very obvious shift in the energy. I think people were getting very excited about what was happening, throughout the night and seeing these numbers starting to get really good for Pennsylvania as we were starting to initially close the gap. But now over the last few minutes, as we saw the lead that Dave McCormick has been taking, he has been working relentlessly on the campaign trail. Every time President Trump has been here in Pennsylvania at a rally, we've seen Dave McCormick take the stage. He has been fighting hard for this state, and this crowd wants to see him go over the edge and take it home. And of course, every time we hear these Pennsylvania results coming
You can
in from
see
President Trump,
out on your screen.
approximately around 51-47 at this point in the lead against Kamala. I'll tell you what, it's a different feeling. It's a feeling of confidence. It's a different level of optimism. And when we saw Bucks County take it from earlier in the night, when we were at about, I think it was about 76% when they first started rolling in for her side. Now it is absolutely in a tie position at the 49% mark or so. So it's very exciting here in Bucks County. I just can't even
The energy. I think people were getting very excited about what was happening,
if not
throughout the night.
away from
I was just
a
listening to my
decisive
screen
victory.
live
It
that you're
could
watching.
It could be big. Now the lights just went out. It's getting very exciting in here.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting there, and the fact that
the campaign trail, every time
could
President
go to President Trump. That everybody was talking about Pennsylvania, right, Bobby? I mean, everybody was talking about it, and now what we're seeing is a possible win for President Trump. He is leading there right now. In your time there, Nikki, just talking with some of the great people of Pennsylvania, what
This
are they
next
saying?
like
Are they
10
optimistic?
minutes
Are they
when all these
nervous?
states are going to throw in their results right
Very
now
nervous.
is going to
Everybody's kind of in that holding their breath mode.
It's gonna be
I see
crazy.
People doing, this like hold on to
Because she could
nothing
catch up.
pose.
Or even
where they're
pass him a
kind
little
of
bit right
waiting
now.
Here, every time we hear
25 points is
on
nothing.
the televisions,
one state could
okay,
be
we have
30
another
points.
call to make. Everybody gets silent. You can hear a pin drop, and then all of a sudden there's eruptions of cheers because we've had so many moments of good news tonight. Of course, a little disappointed when we saw. I'll tell you when the biggest boos came out. The biggest boos came out for Adam Schiff, not surprisingly. The other big boo came out when Virginia got called for Harris. That was a big one. But overall, I've been hearing a lot more cheers than boos tonight, and the optimism, to your question, has been really off the charts, which I love to see.
Did you guys in Florida
What
vote
President Trump spoke of,
Yes,
Nikki,
on-
as we were there
on 3?
covering so much of the activity in the Commonwealth ever since June. President Trump saying if he wins Pennsylvania, it's
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, you just went out for one moment. I think, hold on
She
one
tried to act
second.
like it wasn't
I
just
think you guys just went out for a moment. But I'll
listen.
tell you, if you were asking me about what President Trump had been saying on the campaign trail regarding the idea of if Pennsylvania gets this, America gets this, and I have to tell you, the path,
If you're tuning
the
in,
path is very, very close. Not only for Pennsylvania, but when we start to see what could be happening in several other swing states, it could happen even before we get to Pennsylvania. I mean, it really could happen. And I'm hearing people saying tonight that if we bring it home here, they know that they will be calling President Trump the 47th President of the United States.
You know what's going to be great is, Nikki, if we get the chance.
I'm sending out the link to this stream to a few of my
President Trump
friends.
pulls the win for Pennsylvania, we look forward to coming to you live again.
So right now
Seeing
Trump
you,
has
all the
230,
people
Harris
there in
has
Pennsylvania,
209.
Just enjoying the moment.
Hold on, let me-
I have the chills just
Take
as
that
you
there
say it. I'm
too.
starting to get a little bit clamped, as they say. I really have to say, I know that's what everybody's waiting for. They're kind of on the edge, just waiting for that moment. I will tell you this, we did get an announcement. Somebody came out and said, stand by.
I feel like she's wearing a wig. I don't know. It's like, is that really her hair?
Half hour, don't, because we might have some really good news, and we want this room full to hear that news together. So I believe that is a very likely possibility, and maybe even leaning now toward a probability.
And that's a once-in-a-lifetime experience to watch the energy of any campaign at any level become victorious as you get into the early morning hours. And as I look behind you, Nikki, it seems like quite a mix of different ages and people showcasing that same energy that President Trump did just 24 hours ago to finish his last rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
So this is like a pro-Trump broadcast, though.
Absolutely.
Also,
It's funny because I would say this crowd is very reflective of what I saw
Let's
at
see.
the polls today, as I talked to you about earlier, seeing a real mix of demographics, seeing a lot of
All
men,
these little
but
swing
also
states
a
are
lot of
about
women,
to,
seeing a lot of seniors, also seeing a lot of
close up
children, and certainly seeing
and
a
send the
lot of
results soon.
first-time voters. I'm
So-
looking around. Of course, over by the bar, I'm seeing a lot of those college-age
It's gonna
kids
get
who might have just
crazy.
voted for their very first time in this election.
What up?
And I have been walking around talking to some families. And
On the
even
way there?
kids, like we talk about at the rallies, and like you just mentioned, Bobby, the kids get so excited and so invigorated because this is a moment that they'll remember to talk about one day to their own children, that they were a part of history. And actually, on the lines today, I spoke to two young little
Legal skills
girls,
live thing on
and
the
I
phone.
asked them why they were excited about being here, and they said, well, their teachers wanted them to see what the voting process was like, and they wanted to be a part of that experience so they could share it with their classrooms. But they also said they want America to be a free country and for people to just be who they are and be free.
Adam,
And
while
it
you're
was
here,
really
man, why don't
sweet,
you
and
just give me
it
a
just
follow?
shows you how freedom matters
already
to
here.
us at every age.
Might as well.
And it's even
Like the
something
video.
that the younger children of this country recognize as a beautiful privilege that we have living in this country that none of us want taken away from us.
Perfectly said, Nikki. And it's interesting as we, over the years, how about over the past 9 years, interviewed so many people outside of all of the President Trump's rallies and events and speeches. And I know all three
I'm
of
dying
us
for the
and
update.
any other hosts
I just
on
wanna
the right
see.
side, we've interviewed everybody, and it's been great. And
Welcome
people
to the
are
420
really
show.
excited right now. Nikki Stanzione. This is quite the night.
know what
It's
it is?
11:04
Watch the results.
Central, 12:04 where you are in the morning. So happy November 6th. Hopefully it's going to be a very happy November 6th for all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting
It's
Network.
12:05 p.m.
So Nikki, I just want to share with
my
you the latest
reaction live
numbers that we
to
have for Pennsylvania out of the Associated Press.
who
So
wins the
83%
2024
of
presidency
the
video.
vote is counted. 83%. So President Trump has 51.4% of the vote. Harris has 47.7%. So the numbers, 3 million for President Trump, 2.8 for Harris. 84% of the votes counted. So we are seeing some history in the making right now. Nikki Stanzione, thank you so much for that live report. We're going to go back out to you guaranteed, especially for a win for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. All right, so that was Nikki Stanzione there live. And of course, awaiting the results from the key swing states. I mean, man, you know.
I just realized I
we
forgot
gotta get one of
to
those
call my
Red Bulls
boy
to pick
back.
up a little bit of an energy kick, because I'll tell you, we're doing well, but man, this has been 6 straight hours, and we see President Trump doing so well. It's very refreshing.
And this is exactly what took place 8 years ago. It was Pennsylvania that really
true.
drove it home for him, and then that blue wall came tumbling down in Michigan and Wisconsin. So a similar narrative, and again, really at the end of this, we'll be able to see, was it the Gen Z vote that really helped get him over the edge? And then also in North Carolina, and potentially the Peach State, was it the African American vote, especially men, who put it over the top for President Trump? Because as of now, although these are relatively high numbers, it really is breaking down into a turnout election. So it's interesting because this was always the theory of those who initially ran against President Trump. He has his base, but he cannot win re-election. You heard that from some
my
Republican
God, this
voices,
map.
even
on,
those
I'm gonna-
who were running against him in the primary. And
second.
clearly, it's looking like they were wrong about that.
Exactly.
Look at that
I mean,
map,
this
man.
this is just wild to see this historic election unfolding before our eyes right now. This is what we've been seeing at every rally, the amount of support for President Trump that
Supposedly,
we're talking about
Trump won Georgia
is
and
possibly
Pennsylvania.
coming to a close
They let
here,
earlier.
this is
They,
a win.
if you weren't watching,
How
they
about-
let
how
out
about gotta be a good
a
closer?
poll
And that's what's happening right now.
that was
I mean,
unofficial.
This is legit.
That said,
This is
that he had
Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin,
51% of
Arizona, and
Georgia.
Georgia are the swing states that have not been called yet, and they are all leaning red right now. This is quite an amazing moment in time, especially when we see the results of the swing states. And Bobby, again, 40 electoral votes to go.
And that's what he can close this right now. If it's going the direction
I should switch over to the
the
fake news and
Commonwealth
see
of
what
the
they're
Peach
saying.
State and Nevada, when we get those numbers, that could be game, set, and match. And then
Hang on a
with the
sec.
rest, President Trump would not even need those potentially. So we'll see how this all presents itself as we hope to have an answer relatively soon. But it's really a pretty beautiful map, and perhaps could be a larger win for him than he had eight years ago against Hillary Clinton.
I'm not getting ahead of myself, but indirectly I am.
I'm trying to
I
invite
want
some friends
Thanksgiving
into
and
the
Christmas this year and the
video.
New Year to be
The live
just
version
such
of
a
that.
great time. I want to be able to sit back and watch a football game and not have the worries or thoughts of politics on my mind, right?
Right.
You just want to, be like, hey, our country is back. We have a president that is going to do great things with a cabinet that is America first, and just to kick back and enjoy life again in America. And I hope that will be the same for as many countries around the world as possible. So many people in the free world would love to have an opportunity even to have this situation. Unfortunately, it went the wrong way in Brazil, it went the wrong way in Venezuela, and in other countries around the world. But for some reason, we're blessed here in this nation to be here as Judeo-Christian background, of a founding there. And so it's just great to be a part of it, and it's great to be here live with you guys. If you'd like to follow any of us on Truth Social, it's at RSBN for Truth Social. I'm at Matthew Alvarez, and Bobby is...
I am
them a follow.
at Robert B. McNeely on True Social, at Robert McNeely TV over on Instagram.
All right, so it is 12:09 Eastern time right now, as it is November 6th. The election was yesterday. Now here we are today at 2:30 to 2:10, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona. We are waiting here with you guys. I'm also trying
I
to
wanted to
line
go to
up
Palm
an
Beach
interview
and join
with
the
Christopher
live watch party
Macchio,
out
the
there.
opera singer. He's in West Palm Beach. Maybe actually he can go to Harrison and Megan and maybe interview with them live. So I'll just coordinate that here on the side. But the point is, he will be singing tonight in West Palm Beach. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. I'm just saying it'd be great to talk with him because remember in Butler, Pennsylvania, and in Madison Square Garden, you saw that Frank Sinatra song at the end, New York, New York. I mean, we're getting slowly closer, but still way too close to call. So Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona, Bobby. So we're looking at it. We'll see what happens.
And Christopher, such a great opera star.
If you're just tuning
New
in,
York
it's
and
2:30
internationally.
Trump,
and really quick, the
209
gentleman. He
Harris,
spent a few moments with us
270 is the number
prior
needed.
to the pre-show
And
in Madison
supposedly,
Square Garden. And
Trump has
that
Georgia and
was
PA
one of the
right
most
now.
special rallies, a homecoming rally. This was the most famous auditorium, famous stadium in
That
the
is
world.
still up in
Billy
the air.
Joel performing
They're
there
3 hours behind,
150
so they're still out there
times.
voting.
Of
They haven't
course,
closed yet.
Michael Jordan in the 1990s
But
by Chicago
California,
Bulls
Oregon,
ran
Washington,
wild
West
on
Coast,
Patrick
Colorado,
Ewing and the
and New
Knicks.
Mexico.
Sorry for any New
All
York
went
fans
to
out there, but I'd like to
Harris.
share that
Arizona's
for all you
closed, but
sports
they're
fans.
still
But that was really a
haven't let out the
wonderful
numbers
homecoming
yet.
for President Trump in the Big Apple.
It was awesome at MSG, of all places, the most famous arena in the world, housed the most famous person in the world.
Uh-oh.
Fantastic. And breaking news, RSBN is proud to project that the Peach State of Georgia will be going its 16 electoral votes for President Donald Trump. Secretary of
Peace, baby.
State Brad Raffensperger saying that his lead is insurmountable and Vice President Kamala Harris will not surpass President Donald Trump. Georgia is on my mind, and that was a special moment for me
Georgia.
personally. My adopted home state
Georgia.
is really on the verge now of saving America. 16 electoral votes. Georgia going for President Trump.
246? He's at
All I
now?
can do is smile right now as we see 16 electoral votes. So that is a total of 2 swing states for President Donald J. Trump. North Carolina, Georgia for Trump. What will happen in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Arizona? We will see shortly, right here on
246.
Right Side Broadcasting Network. Bobby, your thoughts again, Georgia.
A special moment. It's good people. Many of us have moved there for a better way of life, including myself. And you will find the most hospitable, lovely, common sense individuals. And we got it done for the American people. And I knew Georgia would. I knew the Peach State would hit a home run for America, and they did so tonight. Very exciting.
Well, we want to see some more home runs and some more grand slams and singles, doubles, triples, whatever. We'll bring home the runs here when it comes to wins. All right, so let's go also to freetrumpbook.com, freetrumpbook.com. Mike Huckabee and his team there at Free Trump Book are writing some great books for youth of America. You saw one there. That's the Kid's Guide to President Trump. There's also the Kid's Guide to American Greatness as well, freetrumpbook.com. The next one is big citizen lobbyists have made it to play should often bring to the many, including platform.
What's going on with the internet over there?
You go to and use RSA pro code for quite a bit there. Sponsored side fantastic network. That Georgia went to President Trump. We know that Pennsylvania, we're waiting to see the numbers. We're waiting to see the numbers in Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin. Well, here we go. What's going to happen? It's 12:14 in the morning. We're on it. And we're going to see a possible victory for the 47th President of the United States. As you see there, RSBN calls Georgia for President Trump.
That's a special Chiron to look upon, joining all of you now into November 6th on the East Coast. And President Trump said this was going to be Liberation Day. Things were looking good. And
he's going to get PA.
Right now in all categories, it's not set in stone. 246 to Harris's 210 in the electoral count.
I saw him do this campaign in Phoenix, Arizona, and man, like he's got a lot of support out there.
The apparatus was truly once in a lifetime.
Exactly. I remember interviewing Joan Reynolds from Alabama, who worked with people that were Trump delegates out of Alabama. They were actually doing a GOTV, get out the vote, all the way over to Georgia and Macon just the other day when Liz Willis was there live. And so you see that Americans helping Americans. I mean, crossing state lines and just saying, hey, you know, we're here from Alabama. Who are you voting for? And just, it's the basic word of mouth sometimes. You know, when you make that nice impression on somebody and, you know, they're thinking, if they're on the fence a little bit. But what we see is a win in Georgia. So let's look at Minnesota real quick, too. I know that looks like it's going to go the other way, but let's just double check some of the numbers there. Minnesota right now is 51.7% for Harris, 46.2% for Trump in Minnesota. That's 57% of the votes counted there, so that may go the other way. Let's look at Pennsylvania. Latest numbers, 3,093,600 votes for President Trump. 2,921,948 for Harris. So that's a small lead, but a lead that has about 86% of the votes counted there. And then if we look at Michigan and Wisconsin, looks like Michigan is in the lead. Pretty sizable lead for President Trump. 52.3% to 46%. And then Wisconsin about the same, 51.2% to 47.3%. I mean, it is looking good right now, Bobby, at 12:16 in the morning.
And again, if you have, let's just say, Michigan and
Wisconsin is 25. He becomes president with 271.
Exactly. So we are about, okay, so what is the number? So we're at 230 still. Well,
Well,
it's
we're getting
230.
to-
Yeah, now we're
right.
at 40?
46 with our projections.
Yes, so 246 right now, so we're getting close here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. All right, so yeah,
Let me
so
see
we
if
see
there's
that
another-
Georgia called for President Trump. We'll be possibly going back there live soon to Palm Beach, Florida, where Harrison Fields and Megan Kohler are standing by, and you know that is where the Team Trump watch party is. Great time there.
Hold on a second. Let me I hate when I show my my search tree. Let's see that real quick. Let's go to Fox. What is Fox saying? The numbers are.
Clean water is
It's
a
so
fundamental
interesting
resource,
when you go from.
but for families like
You have to take a whack.
You do.
Entitlements.
You do.
And for entitlements, it's Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So are you
This one
suggesting
has
that under
Trump
Donald
at
Trump he would do
230.
that?
No, I'm not. I'm
And
not
her
suggesting
ad.
You're
that.
saying that someone should?
I'm suggesting there are many other places where we're going to have to take a hard look of how we spend our money and how
There aren't any
efficiently.
other major places. There's entitlements.
There are other places. You're right. It's 2/3. There's discretionary spending. There's military spending. How efficiently do we spend our military money? Are we spending our military money on things that we need today? Or are we spending our military money on things that we bought 10 years ago that made sense 10 years ago? And they're creating jobs in certain economies. Now, that's important. The jobs are really important. But I think we have to take a fresh look at everything we buy in the country, why we buy it, and why we spend our money.
Anything about Donald Trump's presidency where he exercised fiscal constraint?
Yes, there were places where he exercised fiscal constraint. I think he took advice from some of his advisors well on places where he would have spent additional money had he not listened to some of his advisors. And if you look at the spending during that period of time, we were 2 to 3% lower in spending to GDP than we are today.
Gary, you were the architect of the Trump tax policy that was put in place in 2017. He's campaigning saying he's not going to tax Social Security income, he's not going to tax overtime, he's not going to tax tips, something Vice President Harris also says. There are a number of things. It floated not having income tax. The Republicans look like they may get control of the Senate. Do you think a Republican-controlled Senate would do any of those things?
Well, you also need the House, potentially. So remember, we've got
You think-
legislation starts in the House, works its way to the Senate, and then gets to the president's office. So we don't know what the House is going to look like at this point. I think that what candidates promise on the campaign trail and what they do in reality are two different outcomes. You know, it's very interesting to go promise. As you said, both candidates went out of their way to promise the electorate certain things that cannot be delivered. We, at the end of the day, we're going to have to tax some things because we do spend money. As you point out, we have enormous entitlement programs in this country. We have interest on the debt. We have to service our debt. We have a military that we have to invest in. In fact, we have to continue to invest more in. We can't do that without raising money. So if you're going to change the way we tax and not tax certain buckets of income, and you're going to bring back SALT deductions, because both candidates want to bring back SALT deductions. State and local tax deductions. Yes. The amount of tax
my friend drives a helicopter.
we have in this country is going to be very small, and it just won't work. So I think we're going to have to deal with the reality of trying to look at our fiscal position and be somewhat responsible and get our debt to GDP back into a normal place.
But the Trump-Vance campaign promises to solve all of that through tariffs, which are blunt instruments. Gary, I know you don't like them. So, I mean, can you bottom line that for us, though? Because if we are being told that there are going to be tariffs put on goods, they will raise costs for the poorest people in this country. What they buy is going to become more expensive.
They're saying Trump is winning. Fox News. What are they saying? Let's see Fox News.
Everyone, I'm Dana Perino along with Judge Janine Pirro, Harold Ford Jr., Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five.
We don't need to be watching that 6 hours ago. This is the latest news.
More automobile manufacturing jobs in the United States today than at any point during the Trump
Officially it's at 2:30. She's at 182.
More auto manufacturing jobs in the United States today than at any point in the Trump presidency. However, the EV debate is a debate.
Just live.
Laid out 1,100 people. In part because they say they have electric vehicles.
So these people got 71,000 people watching us.
Yes, it's corporate greed. They're not keeping their word. But this is a conversation. Are they going too fast? At a minimum, are they going too fast? There are some auto workers who say, why are you forcing this on us? There are others saying,
Oh, is this shit echoing because of the...
why are you going so fast? So one of the places you'll find that.
Oh, it is echoing.
I think he took advice from someone that advised well on places where he would have spent additional
Oh my
money.
guys. I didn't think about that. That I got the sound in.
Who wanted to vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. When he dropped out and backed Trump, Bill Govier said, that's great. I love them both. And he voted for Trump a third time. So some of them have been in Trump's camp, like a Bill Govier. But Joseph Knowles is a +1. Voted Democrat all his life. Right? So they're Macomb County.
Okay.
They got a long way to go here. 36%.
I wonder why everybody was leaving. That shit was echoey as hell.
Trump at 53 right there. So again, we'll see if that sustains itself.
Yeah.
And the Biden number at 45, the Harris number at 40. If that's the number at the end, then
Yeah.
very hard.
Well, there you go. And you can see why not all of that change is from that one issue or that one demographic I described, but that is quite significant if it holds. Let's go to Pamela Brown at the voting desk. Let's jump to Wisconsin if we could, because Pamela wants to talk about Milwaukee and what's going on there. Pamela?
Yeah, I've been talking to officials there, Milwaukee County as well as the city. Let's look at Milwaukee County right now. A large portion of the vote that remains is from Milwaukee City itself. This is the largest county. This is the largest city in Wisconsin. According to a source in Milwaukee County, 9 out of 19 municipalities are completely reported. And the source also says that the county clerk there expects all results from Milwaukee County to be reported between 2 and 4 a.m. tonight Central Time. So these results coming in overnight there from Milwaukee County. That is the expectation. Now, let's dive in here to the Milwaukee City. I just spoke to an official there. Milwaukee City has 27,724 mail-in ballots left to be counted so far. In addition, officials are still waiting for results from 4 wards still, and this will be the day of vote, so from election day. So there's still quite a bit to go to count tonight there in Milwaukee City. For context, 69% went for Biden in 2020. And as I mentioned, this is the largest county in Wisconsin. So we're keeping a close eye on this.
All right, Pamela, thanks so much. Let's take a look at Wisconsin as long as Pamela drove us here.
So a critical point she makes, 4 wards in the city of Milwaukee still haven't reported their election day votes. And again, anecdotally, just texting people out in the state, they said turnout was good. They weren't saying great, the gangbusters, they were saying good. So we wait, you wait. Okay, so we're waiting for
Wait, some drink, guys.
This is Milwaukee plus the suburbs around it, the county is what you see here. But she's at 66%, and Biden's at 69%. So when those city of Milwaukee votes come in, that not only does that percentage need to move, but that math needs to change quite significantly if you're trying to make up that. Now, 96,000, that's better than 150,000, right? Simple math, people. We always say politics can be very complicated. Sometimes it comes down to basic arithmetic. Are there enough votes still out there to overcome a 96,000 vote lead? And so if Pam says 4 big wards are still out in Milwaukee City, it was a little bit more in Milwaukee County, the answer is maybe, right? Again, you're getting to the point where you're drawing to an inside straight flush. But maybe. So then you look around at other Democratic areas, and again, Eau Claire getting 55%. Let's compare that.
Same thing.
That's okay, a little better maybe, but it's not a ton of.
For years, I struggled with bad luck and empty pockets. Then everything changed. A mysterious old man handed me a strange bracelet and told me to wear it. What happened next was beyond belief.
There. So if you're looking at this map now, just want to check what was our percentage here? 95% in Dane County. And these other blue counties around it, I'll hit that for you. You just see they're pretty small population-wise. They're not tiny, but again, you're at 95% Rock County, 95% Greene County, 92% Lafayette County. That one is a little bit smaller. So again, the map's getting really hard if you're trying to figure out who's back in Wisconsin. And I would say simply,
I can now see the stream at the point where I talked about turning off the volume on the TV because it was echoing into the mic.
Obviously, close near and dear to my heart. and I have questions about it.
It sounds
One of
better.
them is
Glad.
Allentown, which is blue right now. Allentown, the city of Allentown is 54% Latino. 54%, and Pennsylvania, as we've discussed, has the third largest Puerto Rican population on the mainland, behind only New York and New York and Florida. So my question is, how is she doing in this Latino area compared to Joe Biden 4 years ago?
Again, cannot go granular just into the city of Allentown.
Right.
You can look at Lehigh County here, right? And I can already tell you, 51 to 48. If you're the Trump campaign, sure, you'd like to win it. But you're looking at 48% in Lehigh County, and you're feeling pretty good because you were 46 last time. Right? And again, within a battleground state, you think margins within the margin, battlegrounds within the battleground. So, Joe Biden at 53% with 98,000 votes. The vice president at 50% with 93,000 votes. Now, we're not completely done there, but that 5,000 votes makes a big difference. It just does, right? So and that's there, right? So then you come out here and you come up, let's just move on up, right? Carbon County, look at this, Trump getting 73% of the vote. He's improved. That's one of the places he's overperformed himself. And then you move up here, this is Lackawanna County, Scranton, Pennsylvania, Joe Biden's hometown. It's a tough, competitive blue-collar area, but 51 to 48 now, 54 to 45.
And if that movement
then,
is 4%,
right,
it can be the whole thing.
It's a couple thousand votes there, a couple thousand votes there. I want to show you
By
something.
the way, can I just point out?
Erie has now flipped.
Erie, has always voted with the presidential victor in Pennsylvania and nationally, is now with.
Has flipped, and let's see where the turnout is there. Again, it's one of the 25. They're at 95%. It's very close, but it's always very close. So you see, Erie County very close there. And I just want to come across the state, Northampton County. So you're on the your Buffalo, New York border, and here's New Jersey here.
It's still officially
52 to 47 there. Not done yet, but the two multi-pivot counties. Twice for Obama, then for Trump, then for Biden. At the moment, they're going back to Trump. I just want to show one more thing we haven't shown tonight. I just want to bring this up. It's not here. It is here. It is here. Sorry. I will figure this out eventually. I promise you. I just have too many gizmos. Just want to come in here. Come on. Show you this. So let's go out nationally first. Everyone's been talking all night long about the headwinds. There'll be a lot of questions asked about this after the fact. This is not a good environment for any incumbent. Kamala Harris is the incumbent vice president. What this shows you is not votes. This shows you the darker the county, the more that county has inflation. Meaning, the darker the county, the more cost of living, energy prices, gas prices, housing prices in a lot of places have outpaced wage increases. Right? Try to find me. See the green?
Yeah, what does that mean? That's
the county where your wages have outpaced inflation.
so a higher
You can use
price,
a
the
hand.
better it's
You will
looking.
fill one hand in the more than 4,000 counties and townships in the United States. You use one hand to fill out the counties where wages have outpaced inflation.
So can I make two observations?
So I
based
just
on
want to
this?
come back into your comment.
Oh my goodness.
I want to come back to your comment. The darker the county, the more punishing, the more inflation has outpaced your wages, your cost of living. And just look. I mean, the fact that she's doing as well in the suburbs is a testament to the Democratic strength there. But you see in these other places, it's just, that was the headwind. And that came up. I can tell you I was on the road for 15 months, and that came up from the first trip to the last trip, even for people voting for Harris. Even for people gladly and proudly voting for Harris, you're saying, it still sucks when I go to the grocery store.
Yeah, and that's also why, the right track, wrong track numbers are 75% wrong track, 25, but the election's not 75%, 25, because there are people who think it's wrong track, but they're still going to vote for the Democrat. Yet, this is difficult to fight against if you're in the incumbent.
That's North Carolina. Especially you're trying to win back.
Look at all the dark colors in Arizona and Nevada.
It gets worse as you go west. That's what I was going to say. Then you're in Georgia. Look, this is the Atlanta suburbs, right? If she loses just a little tiny bit, right? And look down here. These are working class people, right? And then you're absolutely right. Then you come out here and you look at in Arizona. That's Maricopa County. That's the largest county. Up here is usually Democratic area.
He's winning Maricopa County.
He is at the, that's just the, let's see. Let's come up there. It's close. That one's close still at half and half. As you bring that up.
Why is that county lower than
This to me, of all the visits, you want to talk a place that still has the COVID body bruise.
Yep.
Unemployment hit 30%, twice the national average.
Tourism.
And then the cost of living. I mean, look at it right there. Where, again, the darker the county, the more, and out here it's housing more than anything. Housing in Vegas. A lot of people rent.
Okay, hold on a second.
There's not a lot of land.
Let me see. CNBC. The CNBC like profile. Wow, that sounds horrible. This is 210. There's a number up there. It says 210. The number down here is 22. I don't like that one. Okay, let's go back to the Trump election headquarters.
Or something, but I just don't know. It looks like we have a very substantial lead. It looks like we have many more Republicans voting today than Democrats. So if you have a lead and we have a bigger vote, that means you're doing very well. But they have to call a winner. They should. And they, yes. Just stop talking about that. Go ahead. Oh, I don't know. I was honored to get Joe Rogan last night. I mean, Joe Rogan's a big deal. He's a very respected person. And I must tell you, Megyn was fantastic. She got up and said some things that were really pretty amazing. But before that, I just think we ran a good campaign. I had good policy. We want people to come into our country, but they have to come in legally. You know, we want strong borders, and we want people to come in. We want to be totally inclusive, but they have to come in. I think that was a big issue. To me, that was the biggest issue. I may be wrong. You know, a lot of people said inflation. Inflation's a disaster, but I think it's a second issue. I think the first is the border. We can't allow criminals to be put back into our country or to be put into our country. So you have 13,000 plus murderers allowed to roam in our country. Not going to be allowed. They have to go. You have drug dealers. You have terrorists. You have a tremendous amount of people that should not be in our country, and we need strong borders in this country. And I think people are voting. And I think it's personally, I think it's the number one issue. We'll see how it pans out, but I think it's the number one issue. I don't have to tell them that. I don't have to tell them that there'll be no violence. Of course there'll be no violence. My supporters are not violent people. I don't have to tell them that. And I certainly don't want any violence, but I certainly don't have to tell. These are great people. These are people that believe in no violence. Unlike your question, you believe in violence. Go ahead.
Where will you be looking early to see if you're having a good night? What's your goal?
Well, I think I'll be at Mar-a-Lago for the most part. We have a lot of political professionals. I'm going over now with Melania, who I'm very proud of. She's got the #1 bestseller. Can you believe that? He can believe it. But so we're very proud of the job she's done with that. Her book is #1. But we're going to go over to the office in West Palm, and we're going to say hello to the workers. They've worked very hard.
Will Georgia kind of be your first indication of whether it's going to be?
I think so. I mean, I hear we're doing very well there in Georgia. I hear we're doing very well. I hear we're doing very well everywhere. Now, I may regret that statement, but I'm hearing that we're doing very well. Would you go louder? No, I haven't.
Can't hear a question.
I did speeches last night, all day long, all night long. At 2:00 in the morning, we left, and we did a lot of speeches. You can probably tell. No, I don't have to do that. You know, I'm not a Democrat. I'm able to make a speech on pretty quick notice. If I win, I know what I'm going to say, and I don't even want to think about the losing part. I would like to tell all of the people that are online to stay online. We have tremendous Republican lines, and I've been asked actually to say it. It takes a while. I'd like to just make the statement that I'd like the Republicans to stay online. Democrats, if they'd like, they can leave. but I like the Republicans to stay in line.
Additional pressure today, given criminal cases against you that would proceed if you lost or go away?
I have no pressure whatsoever. I'm winning big cases. Those cases are all being won. The biggest case was the Florida case, and it's been won. I appreciate your nice question.
Sir, you and Mrs. Trump have been doing
No
this
pressure whatsoever.
for 9 years. Regardless of what happens tonight, is this your last campaign, or are you done after this?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I would think so.
How do you feel about it?
Sad and very fulfilled. I think we're going to have a very big victory today.
Mrs. Trump, how are you feeling?
Very good, thank you. Thank you.
You win, sir, if you win, do you have a plan in place to start naming staff and
Yeah,
officers?
we're already a transition team, but I don't like talking about that until I find out how we do. I mean,
Did they Okay, they officially, George is officially.
well, it doesn't. Look, we're not
Right
looking to
now,
do damage
on the
to
map.
Iran, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's my terms are very easy. They can't have a nuclear weapon. I'd like them to be a very successful country, but they just can't have a nuclear weapon.
Change the way you live, all the threats.
Never pay for Wi-Fi again. InstaBridge is a free app with 20.
So that place has him at 246 now. CNN. That was an hour ago.
Which means that Kamala Harris will.
Okay, hold on. 4 hours ago. This is live.
The eastern seaboard, the western states, and the blue wall states in the middle. And this really offered her the only chance to replicate, of course, what Biden did
this one has
4 years ago.
46.
So I don't think you can question her emphasis on.
PBS, let's go.
If it all goes like it looks like it's going, to be more effective in office.
Harold Ford, are there going to be Biden people that said he could have been better?
Like, I think it's hard to make that case.
Well, the MAGA has.
I think Britta and Carl have made the point. I think three things. I listen to Sandra's data. I'm curious, as we get a day or so away from this, as we look at what happened with the performance amongst women for her. Did she win African American women, Hispanic women, white women at a bigger rate? Were there disparities between the two? And then the race thing for me, I'm going to be curious also to get more. We heard that the numbers around Hispanic voters, but even black voters, where that might be. And interestingly, Carl, normally you see a race where in the country where the cultural issues impact, as you were talking about the suburban areas, in some places he wasn't performing, and you see the suburban areas in Pennsylvania and elsewhere where the economic issues, fracking, and the livelihoods of those communities were at stake. Then you have the cultural issues. I think the issue around transgender rights was a bigger issue than Democrats really understand what it meant, and what it meant for girls playing sports. I'm a father with a son and a daughter, what it means if little boys are playing little girls' sports and going to bathrooms. I don't think we've not gotten our head fully around that issue. So there's been a lot of reckoning, and to Jessica's point, and I think a lot of reimagining who we are as a party, which I think will be good for the party if indeed the trend continues where it is this evening.
I'm not going to belabor this point, but for a candidate who Democrats who really were aggressive and media that echoed that called him racist and a Nazi, and yet today to see the black vote and the Hispanic vote going exponentially more than it did before is really quite something. I mean, it's just startling, really.
Well, it's just further sign of the decline of the influence of the mainstream media, which tends to take its cues, to say the very least, from Democrats, and to repeat with serious faces the charges he made, and sometimes outlandish claims that he's made about Donald Trump.
We could be getting ready for a call here soon. We're going to stay here, and we're going to go to Bill Hemmer, because you're looking at Pennsylvania, Bill. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, sorry, they were talking to me.
How come I always talk to you when they're talking to you?
Because there's a lot to be said over it.
All right. So Pennsylvania we're still looking at, but we're also looking at the national popular vote, which he's currently leading.
Yeah, one thing I was looking at here, okay, this is Philadelphia. This is 2016. This is Trump's
margin in Philadelphia. 15 and a half, okay? Then he comes back 4 years later, Philadelphia, that's where you got, I mean, it's a Republican running in a blue part of the state. He's just shy of 18. Okay, so where is he tonight? He's almost at 21, okay? So hold on that moment here, okay? There's a reason for this. Wow, that was a nice move. Yeah, like that? You caught me off guard. So let's go ahead and look at the vote difference for Pennsylvania. Some things I want to show you right now. You know, we talked about this Democratic march over here. Really, when we talk about the blue wall, here's where we stand right now, okay? Reach higher than that. Trump's just shy of 3 percentage points, now ticking down to 2.7. That's a live number that continues to come in. Go ahead and clear this. Kevin, right down there, man. Let's look at the vote margin for Pennsylvania. I want to show you the blue wall and how, you know, if it's moved every direction for the past 3 decades, is it about to move in the same direction yet again? All right, there's 3 counties here in Philadelphia that really tell a story. These are your flipper counties.
What is that? That was kind of weird.
To prove that there is such a thing as free money, we gave people a little sample of Ibotta.
Hi, could I interest you in a sample?
Here in Nevada to protect other states who don't have those rights either.
This is the first time I voted for like the presidential election. I'd say that it was pretty important just because, well, the thing that I was most concerned about personally was the reproductive rights question, and that's what brought me here.
Definitely like the biggest one and the biggest talk is like the reproductive health. Like now that I'm in my 20s now, I'm no longer a kid, like I realize, oh my gosh, like these are things that are affecting me in the future, in my friends and my family, and I think that's super important that we continue to fight for them.
One of the issues that was definitely important to me was rights for birth control for women. What's it called?
I like Mexican chicks.
I think that's like the only one that comes to my mind, to be honest.
No, it's still failing. Okay, see, that was
That's official. 46.
It's like it's home here, so it's like coming home to watch one of your own do something big. You know, I can't even tell you what it means to be here.
We're going to prioritize them, okay? They're going to go through.
Got into DC about 9:30 a.m. and started wandering around to figure out the process for where we would line up. The reason it was so important to me is because this is a campus of firsts, and the idea that I could be half an hour away from the first black woman president, and she's from my alma mater, and it's right here. And when she announced her watch party, I knew I had to be there. I thought that getting here at 9:30 would have been too late. I imagined people camping out last night because that's what I would have done if I'd given the opportunity. So when we ended up being first in line, I called my mother. That's how I felt. I call home and let her know that I was first in line. So yeah, this is big.
They come out with a predictable.
Oh, she was excited. She's happy. I brought my iPad. I'm going to FaceTime her so she can share in the moment, her and my father. We're all immigrants. We're from Jamaica, so like Kamala, Jamaicans. So it's a big day for us. So I'm hoping to be able to share that with my parents who brought us all over here back in 1980.
Hold on, guys. Let this go.
All right.
The feeling with Obama was just hope for the future. It was joyous and happy. The difference between then and now is that there is a healthy amount of fear of the alternative, that this has to go our way because the alternative may spell the beginning of the end of democracy.
And even if Donald Trump is Virginia, if you can take a look at that real quick, and again, you can see most of Virginia separating Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Donald Trump has won North Carolina the last 2 elections.
I thought he would do better in Pennsylvania, but apparently not what they saw here. But like I say, it's still early, so hopefully he'll win enough to win the election. So.
He did a great job. He was very fearless, and he took care of Pennsylvania. And you know what? And it's gonna show. It's gonna show. It's gonna pay off tonight. You know that the people saw he almost got killed there. So it's very historical that he's gonna flip that state.
Look at some of those counties in Virginia. Not surprised. I mean, Loudoun County, some of the...
I don't want to talk about parties.
Creamy, fridgy, herby, tasty, yummy, tangy, dippy, dunky. Lighthouse in the house.
Dippy Dunky?
Figured out the right price point for them, but we did their cleaning for them, at least until we figured it out. And so they were not able to pay their operations. They couldn't keep that going. But they were able to save their business by strategically partnering. And by the end of summer, I think I was contacted by about 12 other local dry cleaners saying, can you guys help us also, because we're going through the same thing.
So Wisconsin.
Thank you.
Not very Trump.
And it seems now, so the delta between the reality of what inflation is right now and we have in front of us, the reality of that and the small business owners' capabilities, that delta is too great. So unless we...
Sky News.
Show you
Indian channel.
If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you... We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us, we won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to
There's rumors that
upend the will
Barack
of
Obama
the
is
voters
talking in her
in a
ear.
free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States. And world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
Okay. Damn. What would be? Is this one live? This was live, Fox News. Let's check.
You know, Arizona and Nevada have been particularly stubborn about that. We understand in Nevada they don't allow any counting until the last vote has been cast, which is, we think, why we're getting basically nothing from Nevada so far. But Arizona, it's coming in sort of droves. It's a close race there. Wisconsin and Michigan. Michigan seems to be counting there like 54, 55%. Wisconsin at 2 a.m. in 2020 had counted 99% of the votes. So we think there's a chance we might have enough data in Wisconsin, maybe Michigan, so we may have some resolution more quickly than we thought.
So in Pennsylvania, you know, Sean talked about this earlier, the early vote and what that looked like and what she would have to do day of in Philadelphia and those counties right around there. Is it possible that that's still out there and it's possible to do?
Well, it seems to be a probability diminishing by the hour. You know, I think this is something from the Georgia data, but we've also seen it in Pennsylvania. Young African-American men did not come home. Part of the African-American vote came home to her, but a lot of it didn't, and there's a gender gap there. And the Georgia, I think, I have to run the numbers, and I'm not going to lay this at the feet of any demographic group in particular, but she really did seem to underachieve amongst African-American males, especially young African-American males.
I mean, it just makes me think about Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, the former president, and the very strong appeals that they made. Michelle Obama said, you know, don't let your husband or boyfriend's rage dictate your vote. President Obama talked about bringing out brothers and scolding them. That does not seem to have been a strategy that worked.
Darren, did the Fox News voter analysis track with what you saw with raw vote as you went around the states?
Yes. You know, there were a couple. What we're doing early on is we get this early vote from Indiana and Kentucky. It allows us to kind of figure out, is the FNVA performing consistent with the data? There were a couple states where Trump overperformed a bit. Florida was one. We were a little concerned that we might be overestimating Trump's performance in rural areas. But the more data we got, the more that didn't seem to be the case. It seemed like he was basically hitting what we thought he would hit.
I mean, we've got the brain here. Did anybody else have a question for Darren?
I'm curious about immigration and what you've seen in terms of how much that played into the votes in some of these states.
Well, I think the one thing we can say is that it didn't repel people. In particular, there was some talk about the Hispanic vote coming home over the issue of immigration. That did not seem to happen much at all. You know, the FNVA suggested, I think it was 40% was Trump's performance amongst Latinos. That ended up being, I think, within 13 or 14 points of Harris's. I mean, if you'd showed me data before the election and said, you know, that he's going to get 15% of the African-American vote, 40% of the Hispanic vote, I'd say that's an awfully tough night for a Democrat to win an election in.
There's some reporting that Trump has won Erie County, Pennsylvania. Is that square with anything you understand?
I think it was on sort of a knife's edge. I don't know if Bill's got the latest data.
He leads it by a point in 1.4, which is a little less than 2,000 raw votes.
And it's 99% left out. How much is
Yeah.
it? 99% in or 90? What did you say?
90%, statewide 90%.
I'm not a Democrat. I'm able to make a speech on pretty quick notice. If I win, I know what I'm going to say, and I don't even want to think about the losing part. I would like to tell all of the people that are online to stay online. We have tremendous Republican lines, and I've been asked actually to say it. It takes a while. I'd like to just make the statement that I'd like the Republicans to stay online. Democrats, if they'd like, they can leave. But I'd like the Republicans to stay online.
So you've been suspended for 9 years, and what additional pressure today, given criminal cases against you?
I'm winning big cases. Those cases are all being won. The biggest case was the Florida case, and it's been won. I appreciate your nice question.
Sir, you and Mrs. Trump have been doing
No
this
pressure whatsoever.
for 9 years. Regardless of what happens tonight, is this your last campaign? Are you done after this?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so.
How do you feel about it?
Sad and very fulfilled. I think we're going to have a very big victory today.
Mr. How are you feeling?
Very good, thank you. Thank you.
You win, sir, if you win, do you have a plan in place to start naming staff and officers? We're already a transition team, but I don't like talking about that until I find out how we do. I mean,
So how do you sort of threats from Iran, sort of assassination attempts, sort of shape your thinking on stuff, right?
well, it doesn't. Look, we're not looking to do damage to Iran, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's my terms are very easy. They can't have a nuclear weapon. I'd like them to be a very successful country, but they just can't have a nuclear weapon.
Does it change the way you live? All the threats?
Well, I think Secret Service has been a little bit tougher, to put it mildly. I see more machine guns than I've ever seen in my life. We're surrounded by, I feel very confident with Secret Service. I think they've stepped up. Look, for a long time, they didn't give us the help. They didn't give us the assets, as they say, the manpower, woman power. They didn't give it to us. And we'd have rallies. You saw the rallies, 50, 60,000 people. And I'd have less people than Joe Biden, who had 5 people show up. And I'd have 55,000 people show up, and I had fewer people than him. So they should have done a much better job. And frankly, the president should make a very strong statement to the outside world, because
How are you feeling about your team as we head into the last day?
I think my team is incredible. Look, they say it's the best run campaign they've seen. Some people said it's the best run campaign they've ever seen, but in order to make that stick, you have to win.
How do you feel compared to your past campaigns? Are you more confident now than you were about your team than you were in the last 2 races?
My team, I'm very confident in. Many of them are the same players. As you know, Susie,